Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. Today's video is kind of going to look like one of my painting guides, but it's not really. It's actually from my kind of series on the hobby table where I talk about what I'm getting up to whilst in the background something vaguely related happens. In this case, it happens to be painting this Chaos Warrior, Thargrim, from Heroes for DungeonQuest. As most of you will know, on the channel, my painting queue has largely been taken up with HeroQuest recently, and in fact, hopefully, if I've remembered to do it, by the time you see this video, there should be a poll running on my community tab in which I'm asking people to say which miniatures from HeroQuest they would like to see painted next. Do please go over to there, leave your vote if you are at all interested. But we're taking a little bit of a break from that today. As you can see, we are painting our hero from DungeonQuest, and there's a couple of reasons why I'm doing that, really. So I'm going to talk about that, and you can see what's going on in the background here. We are actually using pretty much the same paint scheme that we used for the Chaos Warriors from HeroQuest, except this time I'm going to try and do him in purple, because if you look at his mask, with a mask like that, he must be a follower of Slaanesh. And as I'm painting him up, I do make a number of little mistakes. I will point those out as we go. But to begin with, it is basically the lead belcher undercoat, and then I'm going to apply washes of purple over the top of that. But anyway, the reason that I'm painting Thargrim is, first of all, he is my favourite hero from the Heroes for DungeonQuest expansion, and I want to use him in my games as soon as possible. Unfortunately, these old Games Workshop metal miniatures do contain lead. I am not happy with having them unpainted for use with my family, especially with my children, so any that I intend to use for gaming, I have to get painted as a matter of priority. As I would like to do a playthrough with Thargrim, he gets the first coat of paint. That's the first reason, really. The second reason is, after painting the Chaos Warriors from HeroQuest using green, a nice metallic green, I was interested to see what a purple would look like. Well, actually, I was interested to see what a blue would look like too. I was actually going to do him in blue originally, but I thought purple would look a little bit more menacing, because nothing is scarier than purple. But the main reason, the biggest reason why I wanted to get this guy painted is Rangers of Shadowdeep. The next mission in Rangers of Shadowdeep requires Gnolls, and I don't have any Gnolls. When I've played through that mission in the past, I have used orcs from my Dungeons & Dragons collection. However, none of those orcs are actually painted, and that's fine for when I'm just playing a solo game at home by myself, but when I'm doing it for the channel, for the Rangers of Shadowdeep stuff, I want everything to be painted because I want everything to look as good as possible. My next thought was to use Skaven, because I am amassing a collection of Old Hammer Skaven to go with the Skaven from Advanced HeroQuest for my forthcoming Advanced HeroQuest restoration project. However, none of those are painted yet, and I don't have many ranged Skaven. The scenario in question requires Gnolls that either have crossbows or bows. So that option was out as well. This brought me to my third option, which was to use corrupted humans. I have a number of Bretonnian peasants, archers, and of course I have my Chaos Warriors from HeroQuest and this Chaos Warrior here from DungeonQuest. And between all of those things and a few other bits and pieces, I have more than enough to run the scenario fully painted with basically a force of humans who have been corrupted by the powers of the Shadowdeep and are fighting against me rather than with me. So that's how I'm going to run the campaign on camera, so that I can do it sooner rather than later, and I can do it with a fully painted selection of miniatures. We will be having Bretonnian peasants with their bows, we will be having Chaos Warriors as the regular thugs, the melee units, and then Thargrim here is going to be a sergeant. When I need more than one sergeant, I have Slambo. Slambo is massive and has 2 axes, and he will be a suitably imposing character on the battlefield. At some point I will also need a Chaos Sorcerer, and it's a very good chance that the very next DungeonQuest miniature I paint will indeed be Azoth the Faceless. And then Azoth and Thargrim can work together for once in order to fend off those pesky heroes and adventurers in Ranges of Shadowdeep. So that's pretty much how the lay of the land is looking for the channel at the moment. I'm making sure I have enough painted miniatures so that I can get the next Shadowdeep playthrough out. It was quite a long time between the first one and the second one, and I don't want to leave it as long this time, and this is a convenient way for me to get it going, even though it's not quite the same as having some humanoid beasties to battle against. And then there will be another DungeonQuest playthrough. We will see how Thargrim gets on in his natural habitat, and then I will be painting my way through the rest of the HeroQuest set. It was my intention to run the poll and then paint everything in sequence based on which ones had the most votes and which ones had the least. Hopefully that will pan out into a relatively interesting order, and then once that HeroQuest painting is finished, there's just a couple of pieces of furniture left to do and the box to deal with, and I have to do a review of the Felder insert. But then the HeroQuest project will be finished. It's still going to be a little way off, but we will then be moving on to the next restoration project, which I'm assuming will be Advanced HeroQuest. But I also have Space Crusade now, and I'm going to be talking about that in another video, but it's either going to be Advanced HeroQuest or Space Crusade, and I think Advanced HeroQuest is going to be a very long-term project because I do want to collect a full set of Old Hammer miniatures to use with it, and Old Hammer miniatures are incredibly expensive and I'm working on a budget here. It's going to take a while to amass all the miniatures that I want. I can see Advanced HeroQuest being something that I have to keep dipping in and out of and painting up as I get new things in, so maybe Space Crusade, which is obviously a complete game in a box with no need to buy any additional miniatures, that's something that I can address earlier. Do let me know in the comments your thoughts and feelings on that sort of thing. But anyway, while I've been talking about all this, in the background I have been painting away at Thargrim here, and I should have mentioned the first mistake that I made has already happened. After I did the Leadbelcher undercoat, I did a coat of Gnolls oil, and my thinking there was that I wanted him to be a little bit darker and a little bit more grimy looking than the green Chaos Warriors from HeroQuest, but I think it ended up making the miniature too dark. So what I had to do was, after I had applied the Gnolls oil, I applied 2 coats of the purple ink, and then I dry brushed the whole miniature again with shining silver, and then applied another purple ink over the top of that again, because I had to brighten the whole thing back up and then make it purple again. So I sort of made more work for myself and gave myself an extra layer of dry brushing that I didn't really need to do. But I think we got there in the end. I'm pretty happy with the final coloration I have. Obviously this miniature is pretty much entirely armor, so this is the laziest way possible to paint this miniature. After doing the armor, it was just a case of putting Leadbelcher on the chainmail and the sword, giving that a Gnolls oil wash, and that was pretty much done at that point. I put some Dawnstone on the handle of the sword. I then edge highlighted the sword, and that was the second mistake I made. The edge highlight looked really bad because the sword is really chunky. It's a really big chunky piece of metal. It's almost hexagonal. So once you have applied the edge highlights, it just didn't look good at all. So I ended up edge highlighting the lower part of the sword where all the ridges are, and then I just applied shining silver to pretty much the whole top part of the blade, with a little bit of feathering out into the darker metal towards the base of it. The edge highlight just didn't work for me at all. But that was okay anyway, because I'm doing something on this sword that I haven't done on any of my HeroQuest pieces, and that is adding a blood spatter. And the blood spatters are easy to do. All I'm doing is I'm getting Mephiston red, and then I'm going to get a really old brush where the bristles are all really frayed and sprayed out. I'm going to put a little bit of Mephiston on the tip of that brush, and then I'm going to flick it across the business side of the sword. And that's going to create a spattered effect over the edge of the blade. And then when that is completely dry, I'm going to get some of my trusty old chestnut ink, which isn't available anymore, but there are alternatives on the market that you can get now. And And I'm just going to apply a small amount of that chestnut ink over the blood spatters, and that's going to give a pretty decent bloodied effect on the blade. I've used it quite a lot in other things, and I'm pretty happy with how it looks. It's a very quick, very easy way to get a decent looking blood effect. And then with that done, it was just a matter of doing the base, and for this miniature I wanted to do the same kind of base that I did on my HeroQuest pieces, and I've actually got a video on my channel which is specifically about painting HeroQuest bases to look like flagstones. But as this character is mainly from DungeonQuest and will mainly be used in advanced HeroQuest, I didn't want to use the grey coloration I used on my HeroQuest pieces, so I came up with a new colour variant, which I was kind of happy with and kind of not, as it turned out. It starts with Steel Legion Drab, and then it uses Xandri Dust, and then the third colour is Skeleton Bone. And by the time I'd applied those colours, I was quite happy with how it looked, but then I stacked it, because I decided to coat it with Agrax Earthshade to try and tie the colours together, and the Agrax Earthshade over the Skeleton Bone looked really streaky and terrible, and yeah, I wasn't happy with how that looked at all. But I left it there at this point so that I could finish putting the video together. But I am going to go back, I'm going to tidy that up again, just to try and get it looking neater again, to get to a final finish that I am happy with. But anyway, there we go. That's it. You can see this isn't so much a painting guide as a list of things to try to avoid when you're painting miniatures yourself. I thought it might be interesting to show for once all of my mistakes, because they do happen. I just tend to cut them out of the videos. But there we go. That's it, I guess, for now. Look out for a new Rangers of Shadow Deep playthrough, hopefully in the not too distant future, a new DungeonQuest playthrough in the not too distant future, and some more painting guides that are hopefully much better than this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider pressing the like button. If you really enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so. And hopefully, I'll see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.